What's poppin'? And I say what's poppin', yeah, what's good. Say what's good, what's poppin'. Then when I say poppin', yeah, what's good. I say what's good, what's poppin'.
Huh?
Poppin', I say what's good. Okay, I'm good. In any hood. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I could, but I should.
Hey.
Okay, you sweet. Yeah, I call you Pud. I said, what you talking about? They say, well, it's good, bud. I said, subscribe, dawg. I say, let's get it up. I said, you know what's good with Peggy. Yeah, you know what's up.
Huh?
Peggy!
What's good, bud? Yeah! Come on now.
Man.
We back.
And we back, and we back, and we back, and we back. Yeah. Man, what this is, hot take of the week, Peggy? I mean, I'm all disheveled. I've been to New York, been to LA, been to MIA, and now I'm bringing it back up today.
Hey.
Man, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
And it's sizzling.
I'm trying to do all this to get my dog up.
I'm here.
You know what I'm saying? Got them sun bags under his eyes.
Bro, we've been battling.
He need coffee. We had to push the show back, push the show back even more. But the people ready, Peggy. Let's get into it. Hot take of the week, man. What we got, dog?
Man, we got something sizzling. None other than Steve Spurrier isn't sold on Arch Manning. And he has something to say about that.
They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman, too. Yep. And my question is, if he was this good, how come they let Quinn Ewers play all the time last year? If
Even though he was hurt all.
Yeah.
And he's still.
And he was a 7th-round pick.
Yes, exactly.
And Arch is going,
And now they're saying Arch is going to be the first pick.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, you only have to ask the coach Sark. Yeah. How come you played that one instead of this one? Hopefully you'll say because we thought he was better in that one.
Yeah.
Isn't that why you played one guy and not the other?
All right, so does Coach Spurrier have some validity to his argument or his statement, and why, Cam?
I'm gonna go about it like this, man. Now, OG Steve, he from that cloth, like, man, I call it how I see.
See, if you good, you're good. No matter the star.
I don't play politics. I play
football.
ticks on the scoreboard.
Come on,
you know
now.
what I'm saying? That's the only thing that matters. Even though he does have a valid point, but I don't think that point kind of resonates to this specific situation. What I mean is, Quinn Ewers was not, just somebody to just play with or funnel over, in this particular situation where he was at Texas.
#1 overall pick coming out of high school or
No,
ranked.
he was a 5-star athlete and #1 player.
Yes.
Coming out of high school, so he wasn't just a bum.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
I think when I look at this situation, Steve Spurrier has to understand that he can relate to Steve Sarkisian being in a very sticky situation.
Elaborate on the sticky situation.
Because #1, everybody was looking to see how he was going to handle the Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning situation from the jump.
Okay.
Ever since Arch Manning committed to the University of Texas, there's always been this unsung kind of expectation, like, how is Coach Sarkisian going to treat Quinn Ewers? And I think with this particular point, it says a lot how Steve Sarkisian handled this situation. And he handled it beautiful, right? Even when Quinn Ewers got hurt, when he got back healthy, what did he do?
Put him back out there.
Give it up back to Arch Manning.
Yeah.
He said, listen, Quinn Ewers is our quarterback and we're going to stick with him. Right? He's gotten us to this particular point, made all the right reads, did everything that this coaching staff and this coach has asked him to do, and he's done it. Now, granted, does he have some extreme good talent behind him and sitting and waiting?
For sure.
Of course he does, but at the same time, everybody is looking at it. And if I'm a parent that's getting recruited by Steve Sarkisian, I'm taking all these things into consideration. Because now it's like, okay, 5-star athletes are going to come and come and come and come.
Yeah, for sure.
4-star hype athletes or transfer portal athletes are going to come and come and come and be knocking on the door and the door and the door. And what are you going to do, coach? So if Steve Sarkisian is recruiting my son, I see what he has done in this specific situation, and he stayed true to handling business in the right way.
Hold, pause. While we right there, let's put a pin in that. You said from a parent's vantage point. It's a good and a bad in that. Because as obviously the Manning family, you know, are more trained and experienced, so they understand you don't have to play right now, right? They're looking at the long game.
Correct.
But as any other parent coming in that don't have that type of lineage, it's like, my son is better than this guy.
Right.
And you're only going to give him the job because of he's a senior, or not even a senior, but he's been here before, he did well, but I feel like my son can do better. You're not actually playing the best player, which that's subjective, but you're playing the player that got you to that point. But we've seen that in a lot of occasions. Like you talking about Jalen Hurts and Tua situation in Alabama. It's something similar to that. And it's like, from a parent or even as a recruit that's coming in and saying, hey, I'm better than Arch Manning. So you're going to let him start over me just because he was there before me, or he showed you he was good last year? This is a whole new year. So how do you handle that type of situation?
You handle it in a way where I believe the Manning family has always had this understanding going into this situation. And I said a lot without saying nothing at all in that whole little stanza. But my point is this. They went into the University of Texas with the idea and the understanding that they're trying to put Arch Manning in the best situation to be developed over time. Mm-hmm. It's not about playing, right? Playing, that's gonna come. But who's gonna develop this specific talent to be the best talent by the time he's eligible to go to the next level?
That's true.
And you can't be the best version of yourself. And we've seen talent over the years that, you know, there's countless talents that have started as freshmen and it felt like they just declined over the years. Correct. Right? And then we have one-hit wonders like a la Cam Newton, a la Mark Sanchez, a la, so many different players that has just played 1 year in college and then all of a sudden they become a
top pick. They blow up.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for that instance alone, I don't think it was ever a point of emphasis to play more so than get developed. And I think a lot of parents and players need to understand that. And as my grandmother, Hattie Lou, would always say, take heed to what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it comes down to.
Correct.
A lot of these parents and a lot of these players get so jaded off of the fact that, hey, I'm trying to play early. No. Scratch that. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily about playing, because this is what I would tell anybody, and I always tell my kids at C1N and whoever decides to even listen. Go somewhere that after 3 years, you could put yourself in a position to go to the league. That doesn't mean that I'm going somewhere where I could play early or start or do certain things, because just because you're starting doesn't mean you're getting developed.
Correct.
Because you can be starting for a terrible team or a terrible coach that has no type of understanding to develop you to get you to become a first-round draft pick or to get drafted at all.
Yeah.
So those are the differences where it's like, okay, I'm playing, coach. I'm going to a place that I can play. And when you hear the likes of Nick Saban, when you hear the likes of Kirby Smart, the Dabo Sweeneys of the world, these Deion Sanders of the world that has issues with players not really seeing the value in being developed, because you can be extremely skillful but not ready yet.
Yeah, that's real.
And that's to say, going back to Steve Spurrier, like, bro, Arch Manning was extremely talented, but he may not have been ready
the experience
to propel himself to take over what Quinn Ewers was able to do.
Yeah.
Is Arch more talented than Quinn? Subjective. You would think so. He has more upside, but at the same time, Quinn knew the assignment and put the team in the best position to win football games.
So I have two things. First, I want to give flowers to the Manning family for knowing that, because being a starting quarterback, especially as a freshman, but just in college or on a team period, it's more things that you have to do and deal with than anybody else, especially with his lineage. That criticism that he was going to face, and if he would have came out there first, dealing with the gameplay but also the criticism could have messed up his stock. But number two, from your vantage point, you, like you said, it was like a one hit, one and done, you jumped out there, but you also had the opportunity to sit behind a Tim Tebow. Right, at Florida when y'all was fire hot, but you also, from your point of sitting behind him, were able to see him dealing with what he did on the field, but I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to see all the intangibles as a leader of the team.
Yep.
What do you have to deal with the media?
Right.
You know, having what's a good game versus a bad game. So can you speak to that? Because a lot of people are like, well, he's good. Yes, on the field, like in the play. But it's so many intangibles as a quarterback, as a leader. Are you ready with all of that? Because you could be good, but you might not be able to handle other situations.
You just snapped on that one, Peg, and it's a great point that you put up you bring up because for me, talent-wise, I've always felt like I was more talented than Tim Tebow. Mm-hmm. But I needed Tim Tebow to be a part of my resume to show me what I lacked. Mm-hmm. Tim Tebow is an unbelievable leader, verbally and by actions.
Yeah.
And I'm a type of person that I listen with my eyes.
Okay.
I say that again. I listen with my eyes. Meaning, you could tell me anything that you want, but my ears are mute. If what you're telling me doesn't match what your actions are, then we have a problem. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that. Tebow was a person that was the first in, last one to leave. Tebow was a guy that was always going to thrust himself into the position that the team was going to respect his work ethic. Tebow also was a person that handled fame better than anybody that I've seen at that age. Granted, I was 17 years old when I went to the University of Florida, and I saw the likes of Bubba Caldwell, Percy Harvins, Brandon Spikes, Tim Tebow, Louis Murphy, Joe Hayden, the list goes on, Major Wright, Chris Rainey, Pouncey Twins, Carlos, like, come on, what are we talking about here? So as these things are happening in real time, I'm saying to myself, on one hand, I'm talented than this guy, but on the other hand, the mature side is like, he knows way more than I do, and I will be a fool not to learn from him. Mm-hmm. So let's flip it to the reality of the Arch Manning, Quinn Ewers type of situation. Arch will be a fool if he has not learned anything from Quinn Ewers, how he prepared, how he lead his team, and just how he handled and managed the expectations for being a quarterback at a university like Texas. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of hype, and everybody wants to be the guy until it's time for you to do what the guy is intended to do. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? Like, everybody want the stars and the NIL deals and, you know, the this and the that, and then you realize it's like, oh, man, it's a lot of pressure. Yeah. I got to perform. Like, yo, I had a touchdown. Like, yeah, bro, somebody over there in, you know, another SEC school had 4 touchdowns today. Get over it. Like, bro, when you start looking at statistics and analytics, like, bro, you're not who you think you are. I said this to my team this past week, you know, when we played in the OT7 thing, and I said, you're not who you think you are. You are what the statistics and the scoreboard says that you are. Yeah. So you can feel like, oh, man, I'm the best DB out here. But if you gave up 5 touchdowns and you only have 2 picks, that math ain't mathing, homeboy.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, if I'm, and I'm trying to stay on topic, if I'm Arch Manning and I say, man, I'm way more talented than Quinn Ewers, but when I look at, you know, my production sheet and I threw 3 interceptions, but I threw 5 touchdowns, it just still doesn't balance. When you got a guy like Quinn Ewers that has 5 touchdowns with 1 interception or blown plays. Mm-hmm. These are all the things that you got to think about. So Steve Spurrier does have a point to a degree. It's like, well, if he wasn't good enough, why didn't he beat out Quinn Ewers? But I do think as everything started to develop, because we have to give this the attention that it deserves. Arch Manning has real hype. Mm-hmm. Arch Manning has real excitement. And when he does touchdowns like this and he's just, you know what I'm saying, doing all these different things, it's like, man, the boy can play. Yeah. When you see Arch Manning in St. Louis, you know what I'm saying, in the hood, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. Like, bro, like, hey, bro, it's some real hype there. Yeah, he knows how to move, bro. So I believe Quinn Ewers was given this type of deal directly or indirectly. Mm-hmm. And it was simple. Quinn, respectfully, you either got 2 options, bro. Go to the draft or transfer.
Yeah, because I can't keep him on the bench.
Because right now, it's Arch's team.
Yeah. Even after that stint that he played, and he came in at the right time against the right teams. He didn't have to compete against some of the same teams that Quinn had to do, but it was perfect how he came in and did his thing with the time and the opportunity that he had.
When you have those when you up with your back against the wall and you have that, he chose to go to the draft.
Yeah.
Could Quinn have gotten more money transferring? Probably, but he believed in himself. And you only can respect that, whether he got drafted in the 7th round or drafted number 1 overall. At the end of the day, he betted on himself.
Yeah.
And either one of those situations was him betting on himself. So Steve Spurrier, whether you want to agree with it or not, and you make your point, and it has some validity to it, but at the same time, I think Steve Sarkisian and the whole Texas, football organization can agree that it's Arch's time.
It's Arch's time.
And you have to respect that.
Yeah.
If I'm Quinn, I have to respect that. The same thing happened to me in New England when Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia sat me down and said, hey, we're giving the reins to Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. Whether I agree with it or not, I felt that whatever I felt at the time, what it was, I just had to respect it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter what I thought.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, no, I ain't we're going to release you.
Yeah. It's time to go.
Figure that out.
Yeah.
Go talk to Cecil Noon about that. You and Peggy, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all out of here.
Figure that out. But at the end of the day, bro, it's business.
Yeah, it is.
Over everything, so.
I got to ask you one question because Steve Spurrier brought it up. They already have him on this Heisman watch or projected that he's going to win the Heisman. Obviously, media will create their own stories. But when you said the Arch Manning hype, is it too much hype for Arch Manning being with the resume that he has in college? It's not an extensive resume. He hasn't done as much as all these other players or quarterbacks that could potentially be the Heisman winner. But when they give you this type of hype of Heisman Award winner before he even has done anything to actually get him there, do you think it's too much too soon?
Nah, listen, we might as well change or not change it, but just the synonym for Heisman is hype. The player who has the most hype typically wins the Heisman, right? And I think it's this year's Travis Hunter goes to Arch Manning, as of right now.
But you have to have obviously a certain level of skill. And
of course you do. But the Ashton Genty, the Dylan Gabriel, those guys just performed, and their resume, just kind of thrusted them into that Heisman kind of talk. But at the end of the day,
you gotta have both.
It's a multitude of things. You gotta have, a nationally televised opportunities to show and prove
that you
right.
Can
They all have, and every person who has ever won the Heisman has always had a Heisman moment game, and I think it's just set up for it. It's advantageous for anybody being in the SEC, the most dominant of the Power Four conferences, because you have so many nationally televised games. That 3 o'clock, dun, 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 that sound echoes the biggest platform
for sure
in college football. And with Texas, a legacy university is just prime for the pickings. I think I don't think another quarterback has had this much hype at the University of Texas since the great Vince Young.
Mm-hmm. That's real. That's true.
No, it's honest.
Yeah.
So I think they have their work cut out for them. Now, what I will tell Arch and anybody else, it's bro, you're going to have to prove it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to prove it. No matter what it is, the cat will come out the hat. And we need to find out if that cat's an alley cat or a house cat.
Mm-hmm.
Is the boy a fighter, or is the boy, a person that's just
He a flighter.
Are you a thermostat?
Or a thermometer.
Are you the whole climate? You know what I mean? Did I say that right? Are you
thermostat or thermometer?
There you go, Peggy. Stay with me.
You gonna check the temperature or change the temperature?
Are you conducive to the temperature around you, or you change the temperature around you?
Correct.
The thermostat or the thermometer.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's just the point, bro. Yeah. It's like we talked about, Steve Spurrier. Also talked about Steve Sarkisian, the hype of the Heisman Trophy, the situation with Quinn Ewers, and it really just comes down to how Arch Manning handles this situation. And this is the thing, though, too, Peg, because even though you don't see it, doesn't mean that it's not happening.
Elaborate on what that means. You got to talk to him.
You don't really see Cooper Manning.
Yeah.
Right. But you are a freaking fool if you don't think Cooper Manning, Archie Manning, Eli Manning, and Peyton Manning has any type of involvement with the decision making of their nephew, their grandson, or their son.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make that abundantly clear. It's just different ways that they move. So please don't think that Cooper Manning, Archie Manning, Eli Manning, or Peyton Manning is behind the scenes. Because with a name like Manning, it holds a lot of weight in this football world.
For sure.
Now, on the other hand, you got a guy like Deion Sanders, and I'm not trying to create any type of turmoil or issues, but there's a lot that comes with when Deion does certain things. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into a LeVar Ball that does certain things. There's a lot that goes to a lot of parents that's involved in their children's lives. It's a lot to say to that. But you're a fool. Just because you haven't seen it, just because you haven't heard it, doesn't mean that it's not happening. And I guarantee you, in any signs of a great family that Cooper Manning has done, is doing, and will be heavily involved in just the development and how the University of Texas handles and goes about treating Arch Manning.
I think you made your case, bud.
Can we go home?
It's time to go to the doors of the church.
Home? Open up the doors of a sermon. We'll be taking a collection. Deacon Peggy.
Come on, put it
in the hat.
We need that quiet money, not the kind of jingle.
You know what I'm saying? We need that quiet money.
That mom money.
You know what I'm saying? Add a zero to it too. If the money don't got a zero, you a zero. Yeah. A GoFundMe with Peggy for the love of Peg. Also, we trying to get Peggy some more hair. GoFundMe at 4th and 1. All hearts and minds are clear.
Yeah, they're clear.
Bow your heads. One finger, yeah. Hey. I said one finger. All right. Can't forget the pinky, add in the thumb. All together.
One love.
And that's a wrap.
Yeah.
You dig?